Cloud storage has come a long way in the recent years, with companies offering their cloud storage services to the public, including noteworthy companies such as Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Dropbox, and many more. They are quick and they work well for the most part, but storage is always an issue for me, and I want to be able to have lots of storage and not have to pay anything, and in this video I'm going to show you how. Of course, it would be silly to assume there's a company offering this type of service, but there is a company offering a way to self-host your own cloud service for free, so technically letting you have unlimited storage for no monthly fee. They are called nextCloud, and they offer industry-leading on-premise file sync and online collaboration technology. They also have paid over $8,500 in bug bounties to ensure their product is secure. They strongly believe in hosting your own cloud storage rather than allowing other companies to do it for you. They have a lengthy blog title called The Issue with Public Cloud, and you can read that in the description below. The general gist of the blog is the privacy and security concerns of public cloud, such as who can access your data, single points of failure, not knowing where your data is, and essentially just being in control of your own data. nextCloud was created by the original owner of OwnCloud until he forked it into nextCloud, and a lot of the staff that used to work on OwnCloud now work on nextCloud. The reason this happened isn't known explicitly, but apparently it is due to a cultural mismatch, and thus nextCloud was born. Now I should express that I am not sponsored by nextCloud, and they have not asked me to make this video. I'm simply making it because I like the product, and this is what I use to manage my cloud storage. As a systems administrator, I find these kind of projects fun, but remember that you should take the proper precautions if you're self-hosting a cloud storage system, including your backups, as once the data is gone, it's gone. nextCloud is available on Linux and is easy to set up. In this video I'll be using Ubuntu Server 18.04.2 long-term support on Hyper-V, but you can use whichever Linux version you like and whichever hypervisor you like. I'm just using these as I am comfortable with both. I'll leave links to Ubuntu and nextCloud in the description. So to start with, I'm going to create myself a new virtual machine in Hyper-V on my home server. It doesn't need to be extremely powerful, and as you can see, I've only allocated it with 2 gigs of RAM and 2 processors. But the beauty of running it in virtual is we can just make changes to this if we like. I'm also giving it 1.5 terabytes of storage, as I want to have as much as possible, and this will be where I'm keeping all my important files. One thing to note here is if you are using Hyper-V like me, make sure you choose a Generation 2 virtual machine and change Secure Boot from Microsoft Windows to Microsoft UEFI Certificate Authority, or else the machine will not boot. Installation for Ubuntu Server is pretty simple and just involves choosing the system's language, time zone, network configuration, disk partitions, user accounts, and then naming the server. When the option is given to install OpenSSH, I also recommend that you do so. The installation will then start, and it can take anywhere between 5 minutes to 20 minutes to complete. Once it's installed and rebooted into the operating system, I'm going to log in and update the server using sudo apt-get update followed by sudo apt-get upgrade. This process can also take between 5 to 20 minutes depending on your internet speed and how many updates are available. Once our server is up to date, we can start installing nextCloud. Installing it is really easy as they have built a snap package which sets everything up. You can type sudo snap install nextCloud and the installation will start. Snappy is a software deployment package system and it makes installing things like nextCloud much easier. Once it's installed, we need to run the installation and create an admin account. Run the command sudo nextcloud.manual-install and then enter in the username and password for the account you want to create. You should get a nextCloud was successfully installed if the command ran successfully. This may take a little while before the output comes from the console. The next thing we need to do is tell nextCloud to respond on other host names other than localhost. You can type sudo nextcloud.occ config system get trusted domains, and the output you get here should be localhost. So here we can either add an IP address or a domain. I'm just going to add the IP address of the system for now. You can get the IP address of the system by typing ifconfig. Then type sudo nextcloud.occ config system set trusted _domains 1 to the value of the IP address of your server. You should get system config value trusted domains equals and then the IP address should be displayed. If you then run the command again, you should see localhost and also the IP address. Now we can move on to securing our nextCloud server with SSL. Now you can do this in 2 ways depending on your situation. if you're like me and you don't have a domain for your nextCloud server, we can generate a self-signed certificate. While this will encrypt our internet traffic, it won't be able to validate the identity of the server, and if we did have a domain name, we would be able to use the public Let's Encrypt by Internet Security Research Group to generate a legitimate SSL certificate for our server. But since I don't have a domain yet, I won't be doing this. I will only be covering the self-signed certificate in this video. In order to secure our server with SSL, we need to run the command sudo nextcloud.enable-https self-signed and then allow port 80 and 443 in our UFW firewall by running the command sudo UFW allow 80 443 TCP, and then the installation is complete and we can log into our nextCloud server. If you generated a self-signed certificate when you browse to your server in a web browser, you will get a connection is not secured error when you visit the server. This is because our server cannot be validated, as I mentioned previously, but I'm just going to add this exception and then we can log into the system using the administrative credentials we picked earlier, which will log us into the control panel. Now that we're installed, we can have a look around and pretty much start using the system from the web browser. You can see that we get most cloud features you come to expect, such as uploading and downloading files. You also have the ability to share these files in the same way you would with Dropbox or Google Drive, such as generating a link. You have options for this link such as password protecting, view only, and stuff like that. Another cool thing about nextCloud is its apps menu. The apps menu is built right into the control panel and you can see what apps you have installed as well as installing them. I found an app that can generate a hash of a file to verify it's legitimate. The process is as simple as click and install and then it adds it right into the interface. nextCloud have an app for Windows, Mac, Linux, Windows Store, Android and iPhone for us to play around with, and they also work very well. Setting up nextCloud on a Windows PC is a breeze. You just download and install the application, and when you start it up for the first time, you simply log in and fill out the server's IP address. You'll get a warning about the certificate being self-signed and untrusted, but just tick trust this certificate anyway and press OK. You'll be able to then log into the server, grant access, and then configure the options. Just like any cloud provider, you can create a folder and also choose what will be synced to the cloud. If you're running your server on the same network as your devices you've connected, you'll find the speed is very good. The application for Android is equally as easy to set up and works very well. You can also apply any bandwidth limits you like if you don't want your PC to just be constantly using all the bandwidth to upload or download. The final thing we need to do is allow ourselves access from outside our network. There are 3 ways you can do this, but I'll only be covering one. The first is you can set up a VPN, and every time you want to connect to your server, you connect to the VPN instead. This does make it more secure, however I've already covered making a VPN server before. The second way is you can host your cloud on a VPS offered by a company, but this kind of defeats the purpose of having free unlimited storage and keeping control of your data. So the way I'm going to do it is just port forward the port numbers for now, with plans to use a VPN instead as it's more secure. The VPN method is the way I would recommend doing this. Port forwarding is easy enough. We just need to log into the router's configuration page and create a new entry for port 443 pointing towards our nextCloud server. I would perhaps recommend changing the public port to something else to help mitigate port scanning and the chances that people would find the server on the internet. But with that all sorted, we can now use nextCloud wherever we are and have safe, secure and unlimited storage that is all synced up and correct on all our compatible devices. That brings me to the end of this video, so if you enjoyed it, please remember to like the video and hit that bell icon so that you don't miss any of my future uploads. If you're new, you can get subscribed and check out some of my other videos I've created. Finally, you can follow me on social media. On Twitter, I am Jack1337, on Instagram, I am Jack Tutorials, and on Facebook, I am also Jack Tutorials, but who's really using Facebook anymore? Thank you for watching, and I shall see you again in the next one.